It's the 23rd of July, 2026. Somewhere inside Villa Park's training complex, a 22-year-old Argentine winger is pulling a claret and blue shirt over his shoulders for the first time, smiling for photographers the way footballers are trained to smile. Practiced, camera ready, revealing almost nothing about what the last 12 months have actually cost him. Alejandro Garnacho has just joined Aston Villa on a season-long loan from Chelsea in a deal that includes an obligation to make the move permanent once he hits a certain number of appearances. No transfer fee splashed across the headlines this time, no unveiling video with fireworks. Just a quiet loan deal, stitched together in the final days of a transfer window for a player who 18 months ago was being talked about as one of the most exciting young wingers in world football. To understand how strange this moment actually is, you have to rewind the tape. Let's go back to where it started, Buenos Aires, then Madrid, then Manchester. Garnacho was barely a teenager when Atlético Madrid let him go, and Manchester United picked him up for a fee so small it's almost funny in hindsight. Just £420,000, plucked out of Atletico's academy in 2020. Within 2 years, he'd forced his way into the first team, all raw pace and left-footed audacity, the kind of player who looked like he was enjoying himself even when the stakes were high. He scored in an FA Cup final. He won the Puskás Award for an overhead kick against Everton that looked less like a football skill and more like a party trick nobody else on the planet could pull off. Manchester United fans adopted him fast, the kid who seemed to genuinely love wearing the shirt, who celebrated like it meant something. By the numbers, it was a serious career for someone barely out of his teens. Across 118 appearances for United, he scored 23 goals and set up 14 more before he'd even turned 21. The trajectory pointed only one way, upward, towards superstardom, toward a World Cup with Argentina, toward the kind of career his countryman Lionel Messi had spent 2 decades building. And then, almost overnight, it all curdled. The story of what went wrong at Old Trafford isn't really about form. It's about a relationship that broke down between a manager and a player who no longer had any use for each other. When Ruben Amorim took charge, Garnacho found himself edged toward the margins, left out of matchday squads, training away from the group, part of what British newspapers gleefully nicknamed the club's bomb squad, the group of players frozen out and pushed toward the exit. His last real appearance for United came as a substitute in a Europa League final United lost. After that, he wasn't even named among the substitutes again. His own brother took to social media to criticize the manager publicly. United, for their part, had their own incentive to move him on. They'd spent well over £200 million that same summer bringing in 3 other attackers, and selling Garnacho helped balance the books against profit and sustainability rules. What's remarkable is how far his valuation had fallen in the space of a single transfer window. Earlier in the year, his price tag had been talked about as high as £70 million. By the time Chelsea actually got the deal done, United let him go for £40 million, though they were smart enough to insert a 10% sell-on clause into the contract, a detail that would matter more than anyone realized at the time. At Chelsea, hope briefly resurfaced. He was joining the reigning Club World Cup winners, a squad stacked with attacking talent, and by his own admission, he was thrilled to be there. "I watched the Club World Cup, and to join the world champions is special," he said at his unveiling, sounding every bit like a player who believed his career was about to take off again. It didn't. The Chelsea spell never found rhythm. 6 months in, pundits were already describing him as looking shot to pieces, a player who'd failed to make any real impression in the shirt despite the price tag. He was hooked at halftime in games that mattered. He drifted in and out of a rotation that already included Pedro Neto, Jamie Giddens, and Esteban, 3 other wide players fighting for the same 2 spots. By the time his solitary season in blue wrapped up, the numbers told their own quiet story. 43 appearances across all competitions and only 8 goals to show for it. For a player signed specifically to add firepower to a squad that had just been crowned world champions, it was a return that satisfied nobody. And here's the detail that actually stung the most, buried underneath all the transfer gossip and disappointing highlight reels. Garnacho missed out on a place for Argentina's squad for the World Cup that summer. the exact tournament Lionel Messi and his generation had been building toward for years, the exact stage a player of Garnacho's talent should have been fighting for a starting shirt on. Instead, he watched it happen from the outside, a 22-year-old who 2 years earlier looked destined to be part of Argentina's future, now not even guaranteed a place in Chelsea's matchday 18. So here's where the hidden detail comes in, the part almost nobody talking about this transfer actually clocks. Remember that 10% sell-on clause Manchester United quietly wrote into the Chelsea deal? If Aston Villa's obligation to buy is triggered, and given how these deals are typically structured around appearance thresholds that are, in the words of reporters covering it, easily achievable, it almost certainly will be, then Manchester United collect a slice of whatever fee gets agreed. Which means the club that effectively gave up on Garnacho, that let a homegrown academy talent walk out the door for a cut-price fee amid a very public falling out, could still end up profiting from him long after he's left both United and Chelsea behind. Chelsea, meanwhile, are the ones left absorbing the loss on a signing that never worked, paying out a transfer fee, over a year of first-team wages, and the ongoing image rights and squad cost overhead that comes with any modern transfer, all for a player who's now moved on, having barely dented the score sheet. Add it all up across the fee, the wages, the swirl of add-ons attached to a deal like this, and you understand exactly where a headline number like 100 million gets its teeth. Which brings us to Aston Villa and why this move actually makes sense for everyone involved, except Chelsea's accountants. Unai Emery has built a habit of taking players other clubs have discarded and finding the version of them that actually works, extracting structure and discipline out of talent that looked chaotic somewhere else. Villa have already been busy this summer, breaking their transfer record for Yohan Manzambi, paying roughly £34 million for João Gomez, and bringing in Modou Kebasisse from Lask. They've also just lost Amadou Onana for a stretch of time after he ruptured his ACL playing for Belgium at the World Cup, which leaves an obvious gap in midfield creativity and squad depth that a player like Garnacho, even a diminished version of him, can help fill out wide. For Garnacho personally, it's close to the perfect reset. No transfer fee pressure crushing his shoulders, a manager known for getting the best out of confidence-shattered wingers, and crucially, a full season to remind Chelsea, Manchester United, and Argentina's national team setup exactly why people were so excited about him in the first place 2 short years ago, before all of this happened.